What is going on, everyone? The Eagles and Redskins preview. Here we go, Week 17. Hopefully, it is not my last preview. Okay, and let's be real. There's no way we lose this game. If we somehow do overlook this game after a Rams and Houston win, if we do look over this game and we lose, then fine. We don't even deserve to go to the playoffs. We don't even deserve it. It would be heartbreaking, but we don't even deserve it. But I just can't look at this game and say there is a way that we fall. There's no way Nick Foles or Doug Peterson is not going to have this team prepared to go out there and play. Internally, in that locker room, they understand they can't control their own destiny. There's one job, and that's beating the Redskins. They know if they win, if they go out there and destroy a team that internally on their side, they're blown up and they're on their third quarterback. If they go out there and handle business, they put themselves in the best opportunity that they possibly can at this time to make the playoffs. In reality here, especially as fans, the game that matters more, the game we're going to be watching a little bit more heavily, is the Bears and Vikings. And we all know the stats. We all see it. Kirk Cousins, he struggles against teams above 500. They're at home, and they need to win to make the playoffs. It's as simple as that for the Vikings. It's going to come down to that game for us here in Philly. And, I mean, when you ask me, what do you think, bros? I have a feeling we're going to do it. I really do. I have a feeling that we're going to make the playoffs. Now, I understand that there is a concern that we're all feeling a little too comfortable. This entire fan base is feeling way too comfortable, saying, oh, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. So does that bring you a little bit of concern? How relaxed we are, how we're in the relaxation chair. We got the footrest up and we're leaning back with our hands behind our head, saying, oh, we're going to do it. I mean, I just said it. I'm one of those. But does that raise a level of concern? Because I know it does for a lot of fans in this city. Is this time for Kirk Cousins? And is it time for him to shine and show the world? Okay, you guys all make fun of my contract. Here we go. I'm going to put my team in the playoffs. Because there's a chance we do. We go out there, we win, we do everything we can handle. And then the Vikings get the job done. You got Doug Peterson talking on the phone with the head coach over in Chicago. You got Mike Groh making phone calls saying, put your players in, let's go and win. You got to think of it in this aspect. People want to keep talking about the fact that they can look at halftime and see the 49ers and Rams score. But put it in perspective of this. And I actually saw Mikal Bridges, of all people, tweet this out. If the Eagles were playing the Cowboys on Week 17, the Eagles were already in the playoffs, and they're in the same situation as the Bears with the possibility of making the second seed if a bad team beats a good team, whatever. But you have a chance in Week 17 to knock the Cowboys out of the playoffs. Do you ever think the Philadelphia Eagles organization would take that lightly? Not at all. Would you ever want to play the Cowboys 3 times in 1 year? This year? Yes. But when you're the one in the playoffs and you can knock the Cowboys out, no. You don't want to see them 3 times. And that's the same exact position that the Bears are in. They can knock out the Minnesota Vikings, a rival in their division, and not have them in the playoffs whatsoever, and not have to play them again, and this time in the playoffs, and they wouldn't even have to worry about it. Now, I know the alternative is the Bears are going to have to see the Eagles, which is something they probably don't want to do either, but when you look at the Vegas odds, the next round, they'd be more of an they would be more favored. The Vikings would be more favored against the Eagles than they would against the Vikings. So maybe they look at that and say, yeah, I do want to see the Eagles because Vegas thinks we have a better chance of beating them, which is laughable. But we'll save that for another day. Normally in my previews, I discuss what do the Eagles need to do to win this game. Well, we kind of know. I mean, it's simple. You got to destroy the team. You got to go out there and destroy this team that has nothing left. The only thing they have emotionally tied to this game is knocking the Eagles out of the playoffs. And I don't think they're not going to compete. The Redskins are going to compete. These guys are competitors. They work so hard all season long, every NFL player, to go out there and compete on Sundays. They're going to give all of their effort. I just don't think they're talented enough, and they're just depleted and depleted and depleted with injuries while we are riding this high. We just can't overlook it. But I can't imagine this locker room actually doing that, considering they know what is on the line. They know winning puts them in a chance to make the playoffs. I can't imagine it happening. I know it's not as big of a game as the Rams, as big of a game as the Houston Texans, which is why people think there might be an overlook of the Redskins. But there's just no way I can see it happening. There's no way. So what do they need to do? They need to win the trenches. They got to keep the balanced offense. Their defense has to play well against the third-string quarterback. Doug Peterson needs to out-coach Gruden. Jim Schwartz needs to put his foot on the gas pedal. There is just no way the Eagles don't win this football game. It's all about the other game. It's all about the 49ers keeping it close against the Rams so it's not a 50-point blowout by halftime. Because that's when they will pull their starters, if it's 50 points. If it's outrageous, the head coach of the Bears said. If it's outrageous, they'll think about it. But they are going out there to try and win the football game, which I respect. And honestly, that's kind of what you have to do. Because how dumb would it be if you pulled your starters and it was a 20-point game at halftime for the Rams, and then the 49ers start creeping back in. What do you do then? Throw your starters back in? You can't play that game with your team. And even Khalil Mack was talking to the media. We're going out there to win. We're going out there to win. And when it comes down to it, it really does play a factor that this is a divisional opponent, and they hate each other, and it's a rivalry, and they don't want to put them into the playoffs. They don't want to give them a chance in the playoffs. They don't want to play them 3 times. They're going to go out there and try and win this game. Now, the Vikings have their backs against the wall here, so maybe they step their game up. They're at home, so that gives them even another step. But the Bears are a good team, and their defense is elite. My biggest concern in that game is, can the Bears move the football against the Vikings D? Because the Vikings D are great too. See, this is my Eagles-Redskins breakdown, and I'm breaking down the Bears versus the Vikings. But that's what this is. I'm so confident in the Eagles this week. It's coming down to the games we need to work. It's kind of like 2008. In 2008, the Eagles needed to win. They needed this to happen, that to happen, this to happen, that to happen. Bang, it all happened. This year, a little bit easier. We just need a Bears win. But can the Bears move the football against the Minnesota Vikings defense? Because when you look at the Vikings offense, yes, they have weapons, but the Bears D is lethal. It's going to be interesting. I mean, it's no automatic that we get into the playoffs. It's almost an automatic that we win our game, but it comes down to the pieces fall into place. And if we do somehow not win this football game, I put my hands up and say we don't even deserve to make playoffs. Because you can't be losing. If your locker room isn't coming out and performing with what's in stake, with what is on the line, then we don't deserve it. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Doug Peterson needs to have this team ready to go, and I think he will. I mean, how much are you going to say it? Don't you think all the players in the locker room know? You have Brandon Graham talking to the media saying, I love Philadelphia. I love this city. I'm not cleaning out my locker. I'm definitely not cleaning out my locker because our season isn't over yet. You have Nick Foles getting emotional because he understands the quarterback situation. The $20 million option that might not be picked up by the Eagles, and realistically probably not. These players don't want it to end. They know the special bond that's in the locker room. They know the talent that's in the locker room, and they know the damage that can possibly be done if they do squeak into the playoffs because they know they're not a wild card team. They know they shot themselves in the foot, but here's a chance. I just can't imagine this team not being prepared to beat a depleted Redskins team. I was actually thinking about making a trip and going, but I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll relax on my couch so I can watch both games. The 4 o'clock window, by the way. All in the 4 o'clock window. I have faith. I definitely have faith. There is a chance that this happens. Am I going to be crushed? Good question. Am I going to be crushed if we win, we finish 9-7 and don't make the playoffs? Yeah. But see, it depends, though. It doesn't depend. They'll be crushed. But if the Vikings are up 30-7 somehow, and that's how it is all game long, and I'm sitting there embracing it, it's a little bit easier than if a pick six happens and with 20 seconds left, the Vikings take the lead when I think the Bears are going to win. So, I mean, it depends on how the game plays out. If I'm sitting there embracing it and see the Vikings are just single-handedly winning this football game, it's a little bit easier to kind of swallow than a heartbreak. Although I'll be heartbroken anyway, if that makes sense. Let me know what you think down below. There's a chance. Believe. We've seen it happen before. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.